Welcome back, and so let's head to Cross River State. Well, not necessarily in the real sense of the word, but to catch up with what's playing out there following the arrest of a businessman who is Cross River born by the name Dennis Odama for criticizing the Cross River State governor, following which allegations of online bullying have been leveled against him. And according to reports, Mr. Odama has been arrested. He was detained in Lagos and he has now been moved to Cross River State. Let's get details of this report as we continue with our scrutiny of how to navigate the civic space as effectively as possible without necessarily crossing the lines of the provisions of the law. And joining us this morning on the program, we have a legal practitioner, a lawyer to Mr. Dennis Odama, Mr. Kirian Omang, who joins us virtually. We also have Mr. Cobham Aide, who is the Commissioner for Information and Orientation, Cross River State. Let me begin with Mr. Kirian Omang, a lawyer to Mr. Dennis Odama. Do for us a setting out of this story besides what we already know, and especially critical details about the arrest of your client, Mr. Odama. All right, while we wait for Mr. Omang to join us effectively, let me go to the Commissioner for Information, Mr. Aide. Mr. Aide, talk to us about one question that is on the minds of many Nigerians, particularly those commenting on this case, who ordered the arrest of Mr. Odama, and what is the grievance of the Cross River State government?
Thank you for having me this morning. Good morning, Nigerians. I would first to get this straight. The Cross River State any matter against Mr. Dennis Odama. If there was such a
well, we're having, an echo of how back in that particular audio will encourage Mr. Odama to perhaps turn down the volume of the device in his location at this point in time, so that we can have an effective and constructive conversation. The device would be the television set. We hope that Mr. Omang has now joined us. That's the lawyer to Mr. Dennis Odama, the man in the eye of the storm at this particular point in time, who criticized the governor of Cross River State. And the story goes to covering areas of perceived effectiveness in the Cross River State administration, where calls were made for the sacking of members of his cabinet, and one who was not sacked would be the Commissioner for Sports in that state. And a comment particularly from Mr. Odama about that inaction of the administration drew the ire of the Cross River State government. Now let's come to Mr. Omang, who is the lawyer to Mr. Odama. Mr. Omang, I wonder if you heard my question as we began this conversation. I wanted you to talk to us about the details of this case and the state of your client at this particular point in time. Let us know where he is in Cross River. Is he in police custody? Where exactly is he? Mr. Omang.
Can you hear me?
And that comes as a relief. Well, we'll try to sort out those issues, but it's very important to get the details of this case at this point in time. And this adds to the long list of those who have been arrested, for criticisms against, a government official. And it goes to, the controversial aspect of the cybercrime law, which frowns on, putting out comments against, persons with the use of a device, and who defines what is annoying, gentlemen. And how, particularly those who are criticized should be taking such criticisms. I believe that's at the heart of the subject matter.
Yeah. Well, if the case is already in court, there is not much we can discuss about it, or the merit of the case. What we can just do is peripherally establish what the issues are and what the resolution will likely be in terms of anything outside court, so we're not in contempt of court. But that part of the provision, I think it's section 24 of the cyber crime, has actually been amended to take out those what I would consider non-justiciable terms, annoyance and all of that, which was a big debate at some point. I remember when the DSS had filed one case like that, there was this up and down about it. I've forgotten who it was against.
Justice Craft?
I think Justice Craft. I know that provision has actually been amended, I think in 2024, as against the original provision, to take out something that is a bit more justiciable. But sometimes some provisions are a bit omnibus that you can walk around to institute some of this. So we hope that we can get the gentlemen back in and have a conversation around them for the part that are not in court, and we just establish what exactly he said and what actions have been taken and where it is at the moment. So, Bukola, maybe we'll try again to see whether the Commissioner, Honorable Commissioner, can you hear us now?
I'm hearing you very well.
Oh, what a relief.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. So please, if you heard my colleague's question, please go ahead.
Okay, I started by stating that this matter was not officially reported by the Cross River State government. Let's get that very clear. There was no petition from the Secretary to State Government or from the Attorney General. However, the Special Advisor to the Governor General duty in his individual capacity, having felt concerned about this comment, and you must know that this comment was made on His Excellency's official handle. You understand? And the comment states clearly here, that woman in the Ministry of Sports does she have your nude? Why not replace her with someone that can revive sporting administration in the state? That is very presumptuous. And I am persuaded to believe as a person that Mr. Odama could be privy to a whole lot of information that would be interesting to perseverance, particularly in an election year like now. Maybe he is aware that the governor's actions, maybe in the immediate past, are always persuaded by people who have his mood. So, in his individual capacity, Barrister Peyo Akba, instituted a petition to the police, upon which the police has acted. And this assertion by Mr. Dennis Odama is in violation of the cybercrime law. And due process has taken its course by the police arresting him and, taking him before a court of competent jurisdiction. I don't know why we have this hula baloo. His lawyers are very competent to put up a defense for him. And if he is found wanting, then the law will take its course. So let's not try to trivialize or politicize a purely criminal issue. If his lawyers are able to come with superior defense, they will get him out of the hook. So it's a process that is in conformity with the law. There is nothing outside that. But let's get it clear. If this issue was taken up by the Cross River State government, it is the Attorney General that would have spearheaded it, or a petition from the office of the Secretary to the state government. I just want us to draw that disparity and get it very clear.
Honorable Commissioner, yes, I'm trying my best not to get into the merit of the conversation so that we're not in contempt of court, now that we understand that the case is in court. And I'll also want maybe find out whether the court will decide whether the man who instituted the suit has a locus to institute the suit, because whether harm comes to him or not. But let's talk broadly about perception around, the civic space in Cross River. What do you think? Can you hear me, Commissioner? Can you hear me, sir?
I'm hearing you very well.
Yes. So, but let's just expand the conversation beyond this particular case. This is not the first time we are seeing issues around comments. We're not standing for any criminality. Of course, the court is there for anybody who is offended to seek redress from the honorable courts. I do remember that Jalingo, I think at some point, was also arrested and incarcerated by a former governor, and now we're, as you said, in fairness to the governor, it wasn't the governor that instituted the petition and maybe the suit in court. But talk to us generally about the civic space in Cross River, as far as the citizens' opportunity to be able to critically evaluate and assess the performance of government and the actions of government.
Well, the civic space in Cross River is very convivial. And I want to put it on record that my principal, His Excellency, the Governor of Cross River State, is quite a very distinguished gentleman. He has openly, addressed the media and said, look, he is open to constructive engagement. We are very, very open to factual engagements on policies, on programs, recommendations, suggestions. We don't have that issue. The case you referenced about Jalingo was with the past administration, and unfortunately, in the past administration, I was in the opposition. I know I've had an encounter with Mr. Jalingo at 5FM, where he was defending the government, as it were, as at then. So the issues that happened in the last administration would have been personal, considering the fact that himself and the former governor, came from the same geographic local government. But having said that, in this administration, I beat my chest that His Excellency is quite a convivial gentleman and is very disposed to constructive engagement. My office as the Commissioner for Information is open, and we take up these criticisms on the merit of them, sift them, put aside those ones that are politically motivated, knowing fully well that, this is the season of politics, of mudslinging and all of that. But we must be clear on this. Going to the handle of His Excellency, the Governor of any state at all, the governor is not your classmate, for God's sake. To pass such comments, I am of the opinion that he is privy to a lot. And of course, Cross-Riverians would need, and by extension Nigerians, would need such information. What do you mean that does she have your mute? You're raising a character question on the integrity of the governor of Cross River State. So I think that this is an opportunity for him to bear his mind and come to the table with the facts that might be available to him, so that the public is properly educated. So that's my position.
Mr. Commissioner, because this case is in court, we'll try to be as careful as possible and just stay around issues around the civic space and just how the boundaries perhaps which Nigerians have to express themselves, which is also in the Constitution, the freedom of expression. I understand the lawyer to Dennis Odama is back with us. Perhaps we can just give him some sort of opportunity to just give us a background of what his perception is, just an update.
Depending when we're able to get him. Come here.
Can you hear me? Kindly confirm if you can hear me.
Can
you hear me?
Yes, we've had.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let me say from the outset that the Cross River State government is fully the petitioner in this case. If you look at the petition against Mr. Dennis Odama, contrary to the position of the Honorable Commissioner for Information, you will find that the petitioners Akaba, Etonyon Akaba, and Pius Anko, the Commissioner for Works, did not petition Odama to the police in their personal capacity. The petition Mr. Dennis Odama to the police in their official capacity as the agent representing the government of Cross River State. I'm sorry to say that the government of Cross River State is not only represented in official matters through the office of the secretary to the state government. Having said that, and in view of the fact that I would not like to go into the merits of the case, currently Mr. Odama is presently detained at the Correctional Service Center in Apokan here in Calabar. The matter is coming up tomorrow again. When the matter came up at the magistrate court, we applied that Odama should be admitted to bail, but the court in her superior wisdom rejected our application and remanded him for 7 days in line with the law. So he will be appearing again tomorrow in court, and maybe the court in another superior wisdom may think otherwise to reconsider his continuous detention. Generally, what we are...
Mr. Oman, if I may come in, Mr. Oman, just a moment. Because you're a counsel in the case, we are quite careful of bringing the conversation to you. But we'll come back to you in just a moment. Agba Jalingo joins us right here in the studio. Agba, we're trying to see... Good to see you in person, by the way. We're trying to see how we will now get into contempt of court with all of this conversation. The reason why we had to mainstream this is because this issue around cyberbullying has become a very difficult nut to crack. Perhaps maybe the omnibus, provisions, the petitioner or the litigant sometimes has his way around it one way or the other. So that we don't jump into the merit of this particular case. You have been following up and covering Cross River for as long as I can remember. Yes. In fact, you've been incarcerated for your very, very strong positions about government activities. We've asked the commissioner, what is the state of civic space and the ability to express oneself freely in Cross River State, which is the assessment I would like you to do objectively. Because on one hand, he said, although we have a right under the fundamental rights of the Constitution to express ourselves, those freedom of expression are not limitless. But what do you see as far as Cross River State is concerned? In fact, I will take the liberty to say, from the administrations you've seen, give us an assessment.
All right. We copied this presidential democracy that we're practicing from America, for instance. And I want to say very clearly that the practice of democracy involves my freedom of speech. According to several courts, not in Nigeria, maybe in UK and all of that, if my freedom of speech is only to speak nicely, then I don't have freedom to speak at all. Politicians should come to realize the fact that citizens have a right. As a matter of fact, Lord Justice Bean in the UK Courts of Appeal gave a judgment last year that the right to speak involves insulting the other person. And if you are not happy with it, go to the courts. I will not stand here to say that if I feel defamed or if anybody feels defamed, you should not seek justice. Call your lawyer, not the police. That's what we have been saying, that people should stop using security agents to harass people up and down because they spoke. We cannot criminalize the right to speak. And that's what they have been doing in Cross River State. Well, let's use that same America as an example. There's no name that Americans have not called Donald Trump. From Epstein, there's no name. I don't want to start calling names. They have called him every name possible on earth. We cannot arrest anybody. The worst they could do was to sue CNN. Kash Patel is the director of FBI. The Atlantic magazine in April ran a series on him. They say he's a drunkard, he doesn't go to work, that he does this, he's spending taxpayer money on his girlfriend. Even as the director of the FBI, the most powerful police force in the world, Kash Patel knows that he cannot send any FBI agent to go and arrest the reporter in Atlantic. The worst he could do was to sue Atlantic magazine for $250 million. And I think that if we are practicing democracy, okay, I have lived in Lagos long enough to know that in 1999, Lagos governors are the most abused. In fact, the current one has even been called a drug addict. I have not heard that the Lagos governor sent anybody to go and arrest anybody. But in Cross River, what did Dennis write? I heard what the commissioner was saying. What did he say? If you are angry, why don't you call your lawyer to go and sue him in court? Why must people always pass through the police station to go to court? Must people always be handcuffed to go to court? Call your lawyer. And whoever has offended you will be sued. That's what we are saying. Seek justice, yes. And in any case, let me say this here. I have engaged the governor, and the governor has assured that when he returns from his journey, this matter will be resolved amicably. I want to think that there are some people that are power drunk in Cross River State. The same thing that happened under Governor Aide. There are some people in government who are power drunk. Initially, when this thing happened, the governor wasn't aware until I drew his attention to it. There are just some set of people that are power drunk, young people, as a matter of fact, who, because they have given them titles in government, they feel they want to impress the governor.
So people are suing on behalf of the governor. The governor
I put the blame squarely on the governor, but I can say clearly that when this happened, he was not aware.
So what is the health of journalism and citizen journalism in Cross River State?
It's endangered with this kind of characters in government. It's seriously endangered, and they must allow us do our work. They should realize that we have a right to speak, and if you feel defamed, like I said, call your lawyer, not the police. We cannot continue to criminalize the right to speak. But already did it to me. But at the end of the day, let me also tell these people that usually it's a waste of time, because no matter how powerful you are, the courts are still going to grant Dennis bail at the end of the day. I was granted bail. They charged me for terrorism, treason, felony, things that are not even in the Cybercrime Act. Even after then, I was arrested the second time, ferried to Abuja, and again, Cybercrime Act. I was freed. We won in the court. It's just a total waste of time. And then you turn the person involved to a hero. Dennis was barely known in Cross River State. But after his arrest, he has become very popular. They have only matriculated him into the Hall of Fame. That's exactly what will happen, and nothing else. And then the governor will have to bear the brunt, because there's public opprobrium against the government already.
Yeah. Let's bring in the Commissioner of Information again. Mr. Commissioner, this doesn't look too good for the Cross River State government. I'm just looking at some of the posts by Dennis on his Facebook page in 2024, somewhere around August. Dennis also posted commending the governor that the good news today is that Governor 2 orders for the immediate restoration of power in Bekwara. And then that was in 2024. By 2 years after, that's early this year, he came back to say 2 years after Governor Basio 2 ordered that power be restored to Bekwara State, Bekwara local government area. Bekwara still wallows in darkness with no electricity in sight. All we hear are blames and counter blames from those giving money to fix power. The governor just dashed his friends' money in Bekwara local government, all of that. But my point here is that I think there are times when he has had to commend what the Cross River State governor or government did, and then there are times when he had to also be critical. I'm not sure when he commended the governor in 2024 about restoring power, even though 2 years after he came back to say it's not been restored. I'm not sure the government had to, or anybody in government had to pick him up or charge him to court and all of that.
Mr. Kelly, we have to be very clear about this issue of trying to paint a bad picture of the government because of this particular issue, which we know is in clear violation of certain portions of the cyber crime. But I heard my brother, citing what's obtainable in America and what have you. The laws that govern the space in Nigeria are clearly something different, and you cannot go to court to sue somebody for an issue that is clearly or obviously by your thinking is in violation of set rules governing the operations of the cyberspace. Now, I want Albert Jalingo, my brother, to be very honest. Transferring the atrocities supposedly of maybe the last administration to this administration would not sit well with some of us, you understand. And we must make it clear here that the usage of the designation and office of the persons who instituted this report is just an identity and an address, owing to the fact that that is the most appropriate and easiest place to contact them. Not that they were acting on behalf of Cross River State government. Let's get that very clear. Like he clearly stated, the governor was not aware. The governor has been out of the country. I personally, as Commissioner for Information, I was not aware. I had to make calls to find out the details. And they clearly told me that they acted in their personal capacities, though they are public office holders. So let's get that very clear. And I think we should not overflow this issue. the issue of his comments in the past and what have you, those issues did not cause him any harm because he did not insult, he did not allege, he did not by any way try to bring down the integrity and the character of the governor. He was addressing issues. And for God's sake, the space is open. Like I said earlier, the space is convivial in Cross River State. You can engage the governor. I was a critic of the past administration. At no point in time did I have any reason to insult the character, the position of the former governor. I had met Jalingo in one of such encounters. And I was taking the government purely on issues, on policies, which I was very uncomfortable about. And I brought my facts on the table. That's the day we met, that's the day we became friends. So let's get these issues clear. The government of Cross River State is very disposed to criticisms. We're very acceptable. Let the criticisms be
of your
on the positive side.
Yeah, regardless of your pushback, Mr. Jalingo here is expressing concern about the state of the civic space and journalism in Cross River. We'll return to you to respond to that specific aspect of the conversation, which is equally important. But let me bring some of your pushback back to Mr. Jalingo, who is with us here in the studio, to respond to some of the things that he has said. He said that it's unfair for you to lay at the doorstep of this current government some of the idiosyncrasies of the last administration. That among other things. Another thing that I want you to respond to is what the lawyer has said, who referred to this suit being initiated by the Cross River State government in their official capacity rather than in the personal capacity. What would be ideal in this case, which is at the heart of the conversation, even in the other cases where arrests have been made of people who criticize a government or government policies?
Well, let me refer to the governor. This is the first time under this administration that this is happening. In the previous administration, I wasn't the only one. Paul Ifere, Joseph Odog, PhD in it's a couple of persons were ferried from Abuja, Lagos. They were arresting us randomly up and down. Yeah. Now this is the first time, and I would want to say again, very frankly, that the governor wasn't aware when this happened, because I spoke with the governor and I believe him. And when I drew his attention to the matter, he clearly said he's out of the country. When he returns, this matter will be resolved. And it takes the governor a phone call. He may be out of the country, but it takes the governor a phone call to one of his aides to step down. I still want to give him the benefit of doubt. If I understand the case right, Dennis was arrested I think more than 1 week ago now. Yeah, he's incarcerated in African prison. Like I said, if this repeats itself again, then we can classify him. Like I said, I still want to give him the benefit of doubt and believe that when he returns, this will be resolved. I know the characters involved behind this, the people that send this petition to arrest Dennis. I know them personally. These are just some people in government who feel that I will deal with you. They want to impress. I will show you Pepper. I know them. I know the commissioner for works. They are all younger than me. As a matter of fact, they are just some overzealous people, and I have actually been very upset about this arrest. But like I said, I want to give the governor the benefit of doubt. I want to believe him at least for once. Dennis is in jail. He will appear in court tomorrow, and I want to believe very sincerely that Dennis will be let out of detention tomorrow. That's my belief, and I hope that this will not be prolonged. But if it is, then they will have to arrest very many of us.
Clearly, this is a product of the overzealousness of some officials of the administration.
Particular.
If the governor were so aggrieved, he would initiate a suit on his own, right?
Yes. The governor visited his press office last month to talk with his, because we have so many people in the press office, unlike Lagos, they are up to 15 or 1. And he said it clearly. He said citizens have a right to criticize him. And he was advising his press team not to be abusive, that they should be busy promoting the project that he's doing and not abuse anybody. He said that clearly. It's on record. I have him on record. That is the reason I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. And I want to also say again that I hope that Dennis will be released tomorrow. So if he is not released, honestly, they will arrest plenty of us. So we'll begin to wind down. So let's talk to the commissioner in letting him go, because we're going to talk to you about a few things at a broader level. Honorable Commissioner,
So let's talk to you about, some of the things that Agba has said. As a matter of fact, it's maintained because it's hard to see Agba in this position to give benefit of doubt. So that clearly shows that he believes that the governor is not involved in this in any shape or form. The only question here was he could just make a phone call and get it sorted out and all of that. But what's your immediate response to what Mr. Jalingo has said?
Thank you very much. I appreciate the fact that Aide has absolute confidence in the integrity of the governor, knowing his disposition as a man of the people. But let's get this clear. This matter is before the judiciary. Let my brother Aide not start by also bullying the judiciary. He's giving conditionality already to the supposed matter that is coming up. I think that is the prerogative of the superintending magistrate to determine. When he says that if he is not granted bail tomorrow, then he's going to put on his
That's the discretion of the court. Let's put that clear.
That is very uncivil.
Yes, that is
very uncivil.
Yes, let's put it on record. Commissioner, for the sake of avoiding contempt, is the discretion of the court to decide what they want to decide. So. Absolutely.
I want to say that my governor is a man of due process. For him to say, let him come back, he wants to listen to all shades of opinions. He wants to listen to everybody. He wants to ventilate the system, and then he takes the best decision. And I know him as the man of the people. He puts the people first at all times. So let's give him that benefit of doubt for him to come back. But please, let the judiciary, who already has this matter within its space, do justice to the matter, pending when the needful supposedly is done by my principal.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Commissioner, thank you so much for coming on the program. What is more important amid this conversation is the lessons learned, from the importance of the health of the civic space and, how government officials respond to criticism. Mr. Kobam Ene is the Commissioner for Information and Orientation, Cross River State, and Mr. Kirian Obang, who joined us earlier, is a legal practitioner and lawyer to Mr. Dennis Odama. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on the program. Well, there's more to explore with Mr. Jalingo from
Mr. Jalingo, of course, covers a lot of things. So let's broaden the conversation a bit further. Now, the 2027 election is coming, and there will be a lot we'll be tracking, from mudslinging to literal criminal reckless statement. We've seen harbinger of some of those things coming through. If we were to nexus between free speech and the ability to boisterously express yourself as against what our law says, because in fairness to the commissioner, this is not America. Maybe America doesn't have legislation to check insult, because Trump insults everybody, they insult him back, everybody goes to sleep. But here it doesn't work like that. You call a name, you accuse someone, you will go and answer questions in court. So are you saying we should literally put these particular provisions of this Cybercrime Act in abeyance, or there's a way we can work around it to keep a bit of civility in the country?
We have been shouting for, since that law was passed, that law should be repealed. It's an archaic law. In the 21st century, you cannot criminalize the right to talk. Why? The courts are there. If you feel insulted, call your lawyer, not the police. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying don't seek justice. Why must you criminalize the right to talk? Why? That's outrageous. Democracy, like we said, I have a right. You can't beat me and then tell me how to cry. Allow me to talk. I should vent. Even if I have to abuse you, yes, go to the courts and let the court decide whether my abuse crossed the line or not. Why are people? There's a lot that the police have to do. There's a lot that the DSS have to do that they are not doing. Why are you overusing them? Why are we overburdening them with simple issues that are basically civil? Those are civil matters. The right to talk is civil. It is not a criminal matter. That's what we are saying. And the politicians made that law just to harass us. They know what they are doing. And then you know what? When they become victims themselves. Look at Malami the other time. Look at Erufai. They are a mess now themselves. But when they are making these laws, they will not realize it. They think they will be in power forever. Then around the corner, they fall victims, and then they run to those of us who are activists to fight for them. But I will repeat again, please, in the interest of the country, in the interest of today and tomorrow, you cannot criminalize the right to talk.
How about the debate around regulation for social media and social media platforms? Is that ongoing debate, or let's have some sort of regulation for it? I wonder which side of the divide you stand.
Well, I believe that it should, but I don't know, when you talk about regulation, these politicians, you can't trust them. We cannot trust them. But however, I do believe that there should be some legislation guiding around how social media should be used. Not as it regards to free speech. There's a lot going on social media apart from just free speech. You know, there are a lot of abuses. People are predating on young people, innocent young people that don't know anything. People are using it for criminality and all of that. So I do believe that there should be some form of regulation. But you see, free speech, I will repeat again and again and again, nobody should try to gag our right to speak. If anybody, when you say constructive criticism, for instance, who defines what is constructive criticism? What you regard as constructive criticism could just be an affront on my own right to speak. Because I mustn't be nice to you when I'm talking. I must not be nice to you. And you shouldn't land me in the police cell. Take me to court and let the court decide. The police is not, for instance, I wrote about 500 million that was earmarked for a microfinance bank in our state that was not used appropriately. I was arrested, detained for 34 days, taken to court, and they charged me 4 charges: terrorism, treasonable felony, attempts to overthrow Buhari and Aide. I don't know where in the world people overthrow a sub-regional government. I have never heard that the state governor was overthrown. And then the last one was cultism. Me that has been fighting cultism all my adult life. 4 criminal charges, including terrorism. I used to think that terrorism is a very terrible crime. And I was arraigned in the federal high court because I wrote about 500 million naira that was not used appropriately. And you think we can trust these politicians when they talk about regulating the social media? We cannot trust them. What did I do? That I was sorry for terrorism. So they should let us talk. They are not leading us well, and they don't even want us to talk. How is that fair?
But Mr. Jalingo, at the heart of the matter is the subject of criminal defamation, and you rightly pointed out, what some people consider constructive criticism may not be, palatable to others, and we can cite that in the case of Dele Farotimi and elder statesman Afe Babalola. How do you now check, the concern about when someone says something about another that impugns on their character, and then it gains traction and goes overboard?
Go to court. Even if you take it to the police station, is it not the court that the police?
But the damage has been done.
Whether you pass through the police station or whether you pass through the DSSL, it is a court that you will end. So why don't you go to court straight? That's what I'm saying. The police are in the law court. So why must you pass through there? Because you want to show the person, I want to put him in handcuff. There is somebody in Cross River City, let me not mention. Alphonse Zeba, for instance, arrested somebody. They took him to Operation Pofada, and he was asking the police. He came in the night, wanted to snap his picture in handcuff. Maybe that would give him some emotional, I don't know what they wanted. They just want to see him in handcuffs. But at the end of the day, the police will go and they will charge the person to court. So whatever the matter is, go to court. We don't trust our courts again. Or we don't trust our lawyers.
So should we, is it that there is no provision?
They are the ones that added criminal in defamation because it suits them. In Lagos, you can't charge anybody under Lagos government laws for criminal.
Yeah, there are states that are trying to decriminalize defamation.
Lagos has done it.
It's supposed to be.
Defamation is not a criminal matter. But you see these people in Abuja, they added it there so that they will use it and intimidate us and not allow us to.
So is this more like?
Remove that thing, criminal. So
is it part of the sub part of SLAP, a strategic lawsuit against is it public participation that?
That is exactly why Section 24 of the Cybercrime Act should be completely abolished.
So shouldn't people like you be making a case why we should maybe somebody like you, somebody like Omar Eleshore, Farotimi should be at the vanguard?
We have been singing and shouting and carrying placards that Section 24 of the Cybercrime Act should be repealed. They only made that law to run after us. They made that law. Okay, so let's say if somebody is a criminal, we are dragging him from one court to another, requiring police and harassing him up and down. Sue him and let the court decide.
But it's been sued, to be fair to
but why did they have to pass him through a police station?
So that's the police part is the challenge now.
That's where my problem is. So remove that criminal from the defamation.
So you think that bringing criminal is what involves it? Because let's give a classic example. I insult you for whatever it is I said. You go to the police. You tell the police that I insulted you. Why should the police come and arrest me? Well, is that that's your question?
Yes. What is even the business of the police inside the matter? You go to court. Somebody has been selling. Okay, remember the case of VDM and the other man, Bill Lord or something.
Yeah, Bill Lord.
I wrote about it on my social media timeline, and there's one particular young person who came there and was abusing me very seriously. And then I said, okay, I am not saying VDM should not seek justice. He should have just gone to court. 2 weeks after, the father was owing rent in Calabar South.
The same person who insulted you?
The landlord of the house. Rent matter is a civil matter. We decided to go and bring the police. He threw the father's load outside, arrested the father and detained the father. And he called me and said, please, that you help. And I told him, when we are saying it, that people should not criminalize civil matters, you people are the ones supporting this thing. Now they have arrested your father in a matter that is a civil matter. You are calling me to do what? You need to test this thing so that you people will understand what we are saying.
So do you think that what we are doing is we bring in the police, because if we don't bring in the police and yourself the court papers say, Agba, come and answer this insult or whatever defamation, you may not come until you see some level of force.
See,
it's because we have to be open-minded.
No, we're so primitive that we love to see other people in chains. We love to see people in handcuffs. Then it gives us emotional orgasm. Okay, I've dealt with that person. I don't show and prepare. For how many days? That is, I don't know when are we going to get out of that conundrum of making the courts will be there. The courts are there. The court will summon you and you will go. You go and prove your case in court. Let us allow the police and security services to do the job that they are supposed to do.
Let me maybe perhaps throw in two questions in one. One is a bit personal for you, Mr. Jalingo.
Yes, sir.
There are those who say that we have to wind down now, but those who say that you personally, you have lost your voice. They said you were very critical of, especially in Cross River State, the previous administration, but under this administration, you have been very quiet. I saw some comments. Some people said, you know what, Agba has been settled.
Yes, of course.
I'm sure it's a fact. Sorry for cutting. Somebody has called me stupid already online.
So those who say, you know what, you've been settled, you've lost your voice, you've lost your steam and all of that. And so I wonder how you respond to that.
No, respond. The question is settled. Settled with one, no?
Have you been bought over?
I'm not for sale. the thing is that our state has been very conservative. For a long time, it's a very conservative state. My first rule was that I needed to open up the media space in Cross River State. And in 15 years, I think that reasonably we have succeeded in doing that. That's why voices like Dennis Odama, who is in jail now, and the rest of them can talk. And I'm also growing older. I'm growing older. When Govt Aide became governor, nobody can bring any evidence that I criticized him in the first term. People called me his de facto CPS. I was everywhere with him, hoping that things will get better. After the first 4 years, I called him myself and said, bros, you are not doing well. I can't lose my voice because of you. And then in the second term, when I started, he became angry and arrested me. Governor Cho has been governor for 4 years. I've not been quiet. I've been talking. I've been talking.
But you've not gone blazing yet.
Yes.
Maybe in the second term.
You heard what I said.
Second term, Governor.
You heard what I said, yeah. I said, if Dennis is not released.
You've expressed confidence in the governor. Some would say, as a result of that particular, support for the governor's integrity, perhaps you have compromised.
That's what I'm saying. I also added a caveat that if Dennis is not, because I don't see any wrong that Dennis has done. If he's not released, maybe that will be the trigger. After Jalingo, maybe that will be the trigger. And I can assure you, because they have encroached into our space. I'm also growing older, so my priorities too are shifting gradually here and there. I expect that I have groomed a lot of persons. I will not stop talking. It's not possible to shut me up. It's not possible. There's nobody in Cross River State that even has money to bribe anybody. People have paid money for their poor. We're not poor. Please. I just hope that Dennis will be released. If it's not, I'll sue you. They will trigger something.
You just say Cross River State is poor.
No, it's not the state. The people are poor.
Always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much.
Activists, journalists, thank you for coming on the program. Really appreciate it.
God bless you.
For coming through. We will take a break now. When we come back, we'll shift gears from activism and, still journalism, by the way. We'll talk about leadership and management. Stay with us.